Hello, and welcome to Chapter by Chapter for Eye of the World. I am your host, Will Cowan, and with me, like always, Mr. Steve Haynes. How you doing, Mr. Steve Haynes?
I am doing great. I'm gonna change that to swell.
Because we're reading so many books, you have to kind of like think of your words now and just like what's a better word? You know?
I constantly find myself just changing the words that I've already chosen to use. It's become quite
A
inconvenient.
live action amendum every single time. Yes, we are going through Eye of the World, and today we are diving into Chapter 6, Westworld. I almost said Westworld. Westwood.
Westworld.
Yes, we're going into Westwood. So last week for Chapter 5, we kind of ended off in a I forgot the term I'm going to use. Cliffhanger. I was like, it's hang. Anyways, we left
End of last week, we fell off a cliff. We were hanging on it. There was a Trolloc attack.
Yeah, there was a Trolloc attack.
Shit got real.
And Rand and Tam are now in the forest hiding from Trollocs, while Tam
got hurt.
Yeah, essentially like bleeding out and being poisoned. He's got hurt. He got stabbed or cut in the stomach, and the Trolloc blades, they're no good for people. And
poison blade.
Yeah,
he's bleeding out.
They're poison, man, and it's not good. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, they're in the forest. They're hiding from Trollocs, and that is more or less kind of what this chapter is. I don't think the chapter, the importance of this chapter is what is done in the chapter. I think what is said. It's what is said, exactly. And that what is specifically said is by Tam, because he's poisoned and he's kind of mumbling all over the place. He starts letting out some secrets that he never really talked about before, or at least never talked to Rand about before. There might be other people in town that might know, or like other characters that might know the history. But as far as Rand knows, he's never heard of this.
Yeah, exactly. So we have Rand carrying Tam back. He's feverish. He's a mess. He's rambling. He wants to take the quick route, the quicker way down the quarry road. Can't do it, though. Probably full of Trollocs.
Yeah.
So that's why he sticks to the woods, sticks to the cover, dragging Tam through, and Tam's just rambling. Starts going on about the Aiel War.
Yeah, so one of the first things is like he kind of starts talking about is he's talking about like a flood of an army just coming down the Dragon Wall, the quote unquote Dragon Wall. And this is all kind of in reference to the Aiel War, like you said, but
he just starts sort of speaking it. Like, I think the first thing he says is they came over the Dragon Wall.
Yeah. And Rand's like, what is he talking about? Like,
who are you talking about?
Like, what are you?
What's a Dragon Wall?
And what battle? What are you? What Dragon Wall? Who's talking about Dragon Walls? And Tam starts kind of giving a little bit of a history lesson without him knowing it. And as a reader, like you're looking at this, and it's basically nonsense. Like if you're not...
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of terms that came up here that I wrote down for glossary checks that weren't in the glossary.
No.
So it didn't help me much. But
like I said to you before we started recording that I read this chapter. It's a short chapter. It's one of the shortest chapters we read so far. But I read it like 3 times to kind of like get the idea of what he was talking about. And like you said, he's talking about the Aiel War. And up until this point, we didn't know if he was a part of it, but he's saying he's a part of it, or was a part of it, was there for it.
He's indicating it quite strongly.
Yeah. And so we did some digging, so you guys don't have to, of what the Aiel War was. You ready for your history lesson here, Steve? Ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
So the Aiel War was started when this king named Lamon, I think it's Lamon.
And I'm going to stop you right there because
Oh,
one of the things that I wrote down for a glossary check was when he said how many died for Laman's sin.
yeah. So, what is Laman's sin? You may be asking yourself. So,
That's exactly what I'm asking.
Laman's sin, we have to turn the wheel of time back 500 years. We have to go back in
You
time.
gotta crank it.
We got to crank that shit back 500 years. So 500 years before this point, or a little bit more, the people of Aiel made a pact, a peace treaty, something like that, with the people of the Westlands. And the people of the Westlands include Emmons Field, that area. And they were all kind of like ruled by one certain king. And they made a pact between each other. And the pact was the Aiel took a sapling from this tree. The tree was, I might be butchering the name right now.
The tree was the
Anisodora?
Avendosera.
Avensora. Where's Anisodora?
Avendosera. Amy Sedaris?
They
I
take
think it's called Amy Sedaris.
they take a sapling
No,
and
it's called Avendosera.
Avendosera. Okay. They
Yep.
take a sapling from this tree called Avendosera, which is another name for a term called the Tree of Life, which I'm not sure exactly why it's called the Tree of Life. I'm sure it'll be explained later in the series or later on in this book. But they take this sapling and they give it to the people of the Westlands as a sign of peace, kind of like a treaty. Here you go. Our lands, we're going to be at peace with each other, which is kind of unheard of from the Aiel. The Aiel is this society that doesn't take kindly to strangers. They don't really do the politics game very much, but they made this peace. 500 years later, the tree grew and the sapling grew into a giant tree, and this king named Laman cuts down the tree, and he makes a throne out of it.
He ain't got time for that tree.
He ain't got time for that tree, and he cuts down that tree.
He realized that everyone loved that tree and thought to himself, "Man, if everyone loves that tree so much as a tree,
Wait till I
I'd
make it a
probably
chair.
love it way more if I was sitting in it as a throne."
Wait till I'm sitting my ass in it. And the Aiel, they took offense to that. They're like, "Screw you. That's like our gift to you. Like this is like a religious icon for us." And they invaded in numbers that have never been before seen in the Westlands before. So the Aiel invaded, and that's what Tam is kind of talking about, is this war. And this is the Aiel War. And it's kind of sprung by this cutting down of this tree, which is now Laman's pride or Laman's sin. I think some people call it Laman's pride and some people call it Laman's sin, depending on, I think, on what side of the battle you were on.
But what it is cutting down the tree.
Yeah, exactly. It's cutting down the tree. And from all indications here, Tam was in that battle. He was a soldier in that battle for the Westlands. And there was a huge battle that kind of that he more or less took part on this mountain. And he starts talking about this snowy battle, where he's like, battles are always hot, but even when it's snowing. And as he's mumbling along, he says that he finds a woman and a crying baby. And he's doing this monologue to himself where he's like, "Oh, my wife, Carrie Althor, right? Yeah, Carrie?
Yeah, Carrie.
Carrie Althor.
Carrie.
Yeah, something like
Pick
that.
one.
She's always wanted a child, and this one I'll take this one, raise him as my own, and I'll name him Rand." And he's saying this all out loud to Rand as he's kind of like hiding from the Trollocs and Myrddraal in the forest. And every once in a while he would see her Myrddraal and he would like kind of try to shut him up. And then as they continue on, he would continue on with this story. And as soon as he hears that he was this baby found on the side of a mountain.
On a mountain.
He's like, he starts questioning who he is. He's like, wait, he's like,
yeah,
I thought that's my dad. And he kind of like resolves himself near the end of the end of the chapter where he's like, that's my father.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to tell me otherwise.
Yeah. He eventually dismisses it as, just like nonsense.
Yeah.
Fever dream.
Yeah, exactly. So that pretty much wraps up the chapter. But what I like about this is because Robert Jordan has spent so much time building up the world, and even in just this short chapter, like a short one of the shortest ones we've read so far, we've kind of got this kernel of the world history, which is like vast. It is vast. Like,
It's crazy. It's like you said, you went back and read this chapter a few times. Like, this book is very rewarding
yeah,
for rereading and going back once you learn certain things about the lore and what's going on.
yeah,
And I'm still working my way there, guys.
yeah. Well, I love this like war thing, and there's like they never really dive into the history stuff. They mention the history, and it's kind of up to you as a reader to go and look for it. You kind of are like forced to pour through the glossaries a little bit to unlock the secrets that are going on in there. And I like at first when I read this, I just did not understand what the hell he was talking about. But by the third time, and you kind of, once you read those glossary entries and you go back through it, you're just like, oh, like like the like names like Amy Sedaris.
Avendosera.
Avendosera. Where you dig into that, and there's its whole history of the Avendosera as well. I like Amy Sedaris. I'm gonna call it Amy Sedaris.
Avendosera.
Yeah, we're butchering it. There's somebody out there that's like that is a scholar of this book series, and they're like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Listen, we're sorry. We're just trying to enjoy the book.
Yeah.
And bring you guys along with us.
Yeah, exactly. When you pour into like the Avendosera, and like that's the name of the tree of life, and then like it's from this thing that could be from the Green Man. That's what Rand kind of thinks about as well. It's like, isn't that tree from the Green Man? And if any of you are It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fans,
then Green Man is ringing a bell to you, isn't it?
That's the first thing that came to mind when I read that little passage when Rand's like, it didn't come from the Green Man. It's just like Charlie Day in a green morph suit just going, woo, here's a tree, take a tree, I'm the Green Man,
running around through Beeman's field.
Yeah. But that more or less, that pretty much wraps up the chapter. As the chapter kind of finishes, they're not out of the woods yet, but the next chapter is called Out of the Woods.
You know, it sure is. And are they going to get out of the woods?
I sure hope so. But we won't know until tomorrow. So stick around. Thank you guys for listening so much.
We'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow when we get out of the woods on Chapter by Chapter.